What is up, everybody? So I've made a bit more progress on the game. The big thing being that we now have a squad system working. So we have this squad component here. And effectively all this does is it spawns and manages the squad. So when I select a squad, I can then tell it where to go, and then it will figure out the formations and then tell the actual units, hey, I want you to go here. And then the units have their own navigation component so that when we do tell them where to go, they're able to navigate around obstacles in a very basic way. Now, another big thing that I did is initially I was using inheritance, so I had a character script, character class, and then NPC and player would inherit that, and they would have their own code. But I realized that that was going to create some problems, as there was going to be some overlap, some things were going to be different, and inheritance just wasn't the way to go. So we went ahead and switched over to more of a component system. So if I go to the player, we have a camera, and we have the controller component, so I can make this little person move, but the NPCs are going to move based on their navigation component. Now the reason that this is in yellow over here is because we're inheriting, so we're still using inheritance to a degree, but we're inheriting the character scene, not the character class. So this allows me to effectively create new types of characters. So maybe, for example, I want like some non-combat characters or something I can play around with, and they would still have the same mesh, the same collision box. This is going to be very useful because once we actually start creating the 3D models, I don't want to have to create and then the 3D model for every character and put them in there and set them all up. We do it one time in the character node, and then every other scene is going to inherit that base mesh and model. So as of now, if we go to run the game, we're going to have our character, which can move around because we've attached a camera to it and controls, so now we can sort of see what we're doing. Can't rotate the camera yet, but we have something. If I select a squad, so I can select one and it will select squad one. We can click and tell them where to go, and they're going to automatically go into their base formation. So now, if I want to give them more formations, such as like shield wall or circling up, I just have to change those offsets, and then they will immediately know the difference. This works for up to 10 squads, so 1 through 0 on the keyboard. So I can show you how that works in the inspector. So we have a squad, and that squad has a resource. Now that resource is essentially a collection of data that it can pull from. That data is that it's going to have a squad number. So if it's squad number 1, there's code inside of the squad script that says, hey, when you press 1, I'm going to detect that, and now I'm selected. Or it'll toggle on and off as needed. So if I have more squads, you can select them by having 2, 3, 4. Theoretically, if you had multiple squads with one here, you could tell them all to go to the same location, but that would create some problems. The next thing is it's going to have an array, and this array also contains unit resources. So these are going to be individual units that belong to the squad. So right now they're all John Doe, and they then in turn have their own character stats, which is another resource. So this stacked approach allows me to make a change in one place. So for example, if I want to change this unit resource, I would just go to that script and I could add another stat, and then all of these would be populated. The other advantage is it allows me to actually save these. So if I want to save units so that we can access them later, which would be important if you want to build up units and level them up and keep the same units, they're going to have to be saved somewhere to the computer. That's going to be in a resource where it's going to keep track of all of their stats and their health and anything else that's important. And then they'll be instantiated into the battle on the fly through the squad controller here. So essentially all this does is it looks through, hey, I'm going to look through all of my unit resources, and I'm going to go ahead and spawn them. Right now it just kind of spawns them in a line, but we're going to work on that in the future, so it'll actually spawn them in a basic formation, and then we'll add some more formations in general. But I think the next step is going to be adding some sort of animations, attack animations, so that we can start to see an actual game forming. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Hit that spam bell, and I will upload more videos as we get more content.